executive sessions about. That's why we are doing lunch on your own, so we can linger in those conversations in that way. One quick heads up, if it changes your opinion of what room you went to, Todd Bogert is down in the beginner room if you're leaning more design and you would want some insight there. We've got the all-powerful Mert with us here, which is pretty clever on all those things as well. And we've got a bunch of people that have been doing this a long time. So just making sure you kind of have a feel for where you are and where you want to be. But before I get to talking, because I would love to not do that, who's got something on the tip of your tongue that you're trying to implement right now regarding the design of your site or how you're driving traffic? I've got a couple of key points I want to inject as we go along, but who's got something you would love to start with? Make sure that we get discussed. All right, I'll see you guys at 1 o'clock. This is the part where I will tolerate the silence because you get the most value out of getting what you need information and answers for. Is that a hand?
Yeah.
It was up, it was down, it was up.
It's a tentative hand. I think one of the things our brokerage is an entire team. And
okay, let me get your mic so we record your question too.
I guess our team was wondering if there's any way to have a scrolling feed of, current Google reviews or current social media stuff that's
I can give you a quick answer of how I do it, and I bet you there's some other people that have very different or similar opinions. We use a service called ElfSite.
Yeah.
And it's so cheap, and it's so simple, and it offers so much functionality that that's my quick, easy, affordable answer. It can display your Google reviews on a rotator of 3, 5, 7, 9, a whole page. If you go to DallasHomeRealty.com/reviews, you can see how ours looks right now. That's one way we're doing it. That's a dedicated page with zero Real Geeks programming and just the ElfSite widget showing all 700 and something of them.
What's the website?
ElfSite, E-L-F, like a Santa's elf, S-I-G-H-T, ElfSite.
Lessons change is $10 a month, I think.
So every year though, they're doing end of year like holiday promos, and it's like the whole year for 30-something bucks.
Yeah.
So it's worth every bit of $10 a month though, because it's so easy and there's like 185 other widgets it has. They're still in beta on their silent auction widget that I was really hoping was ready.
So where is this in the sidebar?
You can use it in a lot of ways. So we use it 2 primary ways for reviews. One is we have a dedicated page on the menu that says reviews, and it just pulls them all in. Number 2 is we have a rotator near the bottom of our homepage, and we can talk in a little bit about what the top and the bottom of above the fold, below the fold homepage real estate is worth. But we use it those 2 ways. There's a lot of other ways you can use it.
So is it linked with the whole page? How can you get to the whole page?
So if you went to my website right now, you go to DallasHomeRealty.com or about 137 other domains will get you there. And then you click reviews, and the entire page, yeah, you can click that on the menu, or we have links out all over the world to check reviews. The other thing is if you're on the home page and you scroll down a bit, you can just see them rotating. And that's just a widget on a section of the home page.
And like I say, there can be formatted upon.
So many options.
I use one, I think it's called reviews on my website. I don't even know what it is. It's only like $5 a month.
Let me see that, Mike. Okay. So Don is saying he's got one that's called something like reviews on my website.
Yeah, and you can format it, just like Todd said, in many different ways. You can put it on any website, as many different websites as you want. It'll pull in reviews from Facebook, Google, from all these different places, so you have them. And then you can say, I only want 5-star reviews.
Yep.
I don't. So you get a check. If there's a couple bad ones in there, which I don't have, you can disregard.
I do.
But you can pick and choose so many different ways of doing it. So it works out really well. And there's just like I said, there's so many. You can color coordinate.
I'm gonna restrain myself from talking more about reviews because it's such an important topic. But tomorrow there's a lot of branding conversations and we will address it. I'll just say I don't hate a bad review every once in a while. DallasHomeRealty.com. I've had that domain for 20-something years. I can't shake it. I have better ones, but that's the old trusty. All right, any other questions on site design, how it looks, and site traffic, how we get people there? Because we all know you can have a gorgeous website that no one even knows exists and it doesn't matter. You can also have an ugly website that prints money for you. We want to be probably somewhere in between, in my opinion. But this is not about me, this is about who's in the room and how we can help each other. So, design, yep. Let's get Mike coming. Thank you, Eddie, for doing that. No, right in front of that.
You had just mentioned about, a pretty site versus a functional site. Hindsight being 2020, when I first signed up, I paid Todd to be a real pretty site. And it's that, but it's like, I wish I would have went with the more basic.
Yeah, I can speak from personal experience as well. I think there's nuance to this. So you're talking about site load speeds, and page
And so
load
my
cost.
question is, do you think I'd be shooting myself in the foot, going reverting back?
No, but that's a complicated answer. Mert has opinions, he's sitting next to you, he'll gladly share them with you. But what I would say is this. My opinion, just my opinion, is that everything is about balance. There are absolutely reasons for some of the pages on your site, in my opinion, to be beautiful. And the functionality is less important. The way I have built my site, my homepage is not where we convert a lot of leads. It is where we drive marketing-driven traffic so that they go, yep, that's the guy I heard on the radio. That's the guy I saw on the videos. So it's image-focused, it's authority building, but that's not where we send paid traffic to opt in quickly. So that page is a little slower, it's more dynamic, it's more visual. Other pages have a lot less branding, a lot less marketing, and more opt-in focused. That's the way I do it. Doesn't mean that's how you should do it, but I don't think it's one size fits all, every page the same. My opinion. Do you have something you want to add? Let's get you a mic real quick.
Oh, okay.
Sasha.
Right, please. I agree with what Todd is saying because when I first started my website, I went to Todd, made it really nice and pretty.
Not this time, Todd Miller.
Todd, right. To make it really nice and pretty, but at the end of the day, I run my Google pay-per-click ads and Facebook ads based off the internal pages, right? So what RealReach is rolling out now with the SEO thing is I'm loving that. But I run my ads based off that. The homepage is purely for marketing. If I'm trying to get someone just to recognize who we are, that's what that's about. My point is this, what RealGeeks has done now lately with, correct me if I'm wrong, Anna Modern, right? It looks just like the $1,000 website that I put out there years ago. So now I got 2 more websites using Anna Modern, actually outperforming my older website because it's a lot cleaner and because I'm using their version of it, it's moving faster. My HTML rich-driven chapter realtor site has been slower. I'm literally running one site down for Houston, San Antonio, and Austin, Texas, 3 huge MLSs, right? And it's moving faster because I don't have the extra coding on it. But it looks just as attractive on the front page, but it still gets me leads on the internal pages. So I would just say, and I love Todd, what he does, he's built a lot of great things for us, but the advancement that they've made really helps from that perspective. People don't care as much about your front page unless you're running people to it.
I think that last point is one that everyone needs to take in for just a second. For years, and at least for me, in the early days of me having a real estate website, which started in 2002 or something like that, you would think about your homepage like the front page of the newspaper. What's above the fold, what's below the fold? What is someone going to see before they have to scroll? What are they going to accidentally see? What's the headline? What's your USP? What's your point of differentiation? Is it up there front and center? You may not think about your site that way. That's fine. If your site is purely about converting traffic, typically unbranded, quick functionality, give them exactly what they want as fast as the best user experience is going to work. What Sasha's saying, and I think accurately, is you can do both because our ads, our traffic driving ads are going to land on a results page or some sort of internal site page. When someone Googles me, they're more likely to land on the homepage if I've created it that way. is if I put a link in a different kind of ad, or if I send a certain domain off of podcast, YouTube, postcard, whatever, I may be sending them for that visual connection, trust building, authority building part, picture of me and Barbara Corcoran or me in my radio studio, whereas someone who doesn't know me, like me, trust me, or care yet, they want to see houses as fast as possible. I'm going to annoy them a little bit by making them sign up, and then I'm going to wow them with the quality of what I do. So that's just philosophy. Sounds like we're connecting pretty well on that. Does anyone feel differently about that? Okay. What else? We're talking about how our sites look from a design perspective, and we're talking about how we get people to that site, which is traffic. And there are lots of kinds of traffic. I'll at least lob this grenade out. PPC, pay per click, is not the only source of traffic. You still have a mic?
I got a question / statement for the room. What exactly are you guys doing? Because a lot of people have big businesses, right? What are you doing for the people you've already captured, you've already done business with, past clients, to engage them on the website? Do you have a special landing page or anything like that on your website or an external site that's used from that perspective? I'm just curious what others are doing, because we're starting to look at that a little differently too.
We got several hands up, and then I'll give you what we're doing when I finish.
So I have a past clients Facebook group. So I stole it from another agent. It's amazing. I don't overpost. I do one Facebook Live a month. And I do a Facebook Live because it sends them a notification, a specific type of notification that says Zach Albers is live on Albers Real Estate Group's past Facebook group. Do like quarterly giveaways. The quarterly giveaways are tied to a question or an activity or something. I try not to do, hey, refer me somebody or leave me a review every time.
Offering value.
Maybe once a year. I'll say, hey, this giveaway is tied to posting your experience with me, whatever. But generally, I try to stay away from that, offer value. The first question I did was take a picture of your favorite room in your house. Just simple, just to drive some activity. So I'm horrible with past client Facebook, like follow-up. And I heard this idea from another agent and used it, and it has been game-changing. Like literally, I have a ton of activity from my previous agents, and we post stuff like, you know, it's fall, clean up your yard, here's a contractor. I mean, there's all sorts of content value that you can post, but it is pretty effective, and it's a really minimal time.
Generally speaking, what's the engagement like? Is there 500 people active in there? Or is it
No, so I've got about so unfortunately, I didn't do this from the beginning, so I only had about 40% of my past clients join, and I really haven't made a huge effort. My next step is to call all those clients and say, hey, we set this up, please join. But I bet I get 30 to 50% of the members in there to interact with my post in some way, shape, or form. Almost every post. So that may be just a like, not necessarily a comment every time, but it is very effective.
Awesome. All right, who else had a hand up? Was it you, Jim?
Yeah, so we have a tab on ours, and I'll tell you my agents I think are worst at using it. She's one of them here. But we have all of our referral partners and recommended vendors, and we try and in some of our closed client drips remind them, you know, once a year or so, you need a roofer, you need an insurance guy, you need this. Here's our list of recommended vendors that we have, you know, people that we've gone through, vetted. If you have anybody else you want added here that you've personally used, please let us know. Also, we'll add them on here. I don't know how much traffic we get to that, but it's been out there for a while. But the thing that's most frustrating is when one of the agents says, hey, who's got a roofer? It's like, why aren't you looking at our recommended vendor list? It's on the web. It's out there. That's one of the things we do.
Anybody else have an answer to how you're engaging your existing clients and database, either with Real Geeks or elsewhere?
We're doing
We'll get you a mic in a second so we can record it. Thanks, Laura.
we have a MailChimp that goes out once or twice a month, and we have blog links back to the blog on our site. And we have our own personal written blogs, plus guest blogs from other people in the industry, other lenders, vendors, etc.
Everyone in this room. Laura, right here in the middle.
So we wanted to do something that other realtors aren't doing, and so we decided to do quarterly client appreciation parties. So getting all of our sponsors, like our title people, our mortgage people, anyone involved, the inspectors that did their inspections, and contractors that were referring out to them to come to these parties, and we're getting a great response and a great rate of engagement that we never had before, so that's what we're doing.
Yep, love it. So we do a Breakout fan club, we do quarterly events, we do newsletters. We're doing a digest email once a month to our existing, our current clients, past clients, database, affinity, influencers, all these people that are fans of ours. That's one of the coolest things we've added, Sasha, that's been really easy. So our monthly digest email is literally our marketing crew going through all the stuff we do throughout the month and picking their 3 or 4 favorite things. So if you're posting on social media, or you're writing emails, or you're blogging, or you maybe have a podcast, or anything like that, YouTube videos, whatever, you've already created that content. So they're grabbing 3 or 4 of them, turning it into a blog post, but also emailing out, and it's getting people back to the site. And then, as you know, once they're back, they're tinkering, they're getting property values. Fellow has also been a great addition this year. People are checking their home equity, they're tracking their home equity, they're tinkering with cash offers and just playing around. But it's getting them thinking about real estate, thinking about us. And then our client events have always been fantastic. So that's the short version. Anyone else on that question? Hand over here.
We do client events that we're as a brokerage, we do a lot of volunteering. That's one of our missions, is that we give back to our community. So something really wacky we do is polar plunge. If you guys are familiar with polar plunge, most people are. We jump in Lake Ontario in Rochester, New York in February. It is completely weird and wacky. We invite clients because no one does stuff like this. No one gets invited to doing weird stuff like that. And they actually really appreciate it, and they show up like, oh my God, my realtor is, invited me to polar plunge. I'm going to jump into a frozen lake with my realtor in February. And we get so much social media from this and so much give back. And obviously, the best portion is that we give back to Special Olympics in New York State. And it's just all tied together. It's a really good, feel-good event. And doing that in February leads us into things we do in the spring with volunteering with Food Link in our community. We invite our clients, our customers to help us plant a garden in the city for impoverished families and things that they can partake in. And it's stuff that giving back to your community that everyone wants to do, but maybe they don't find time for it, or they're not great at organizing it. That's an opportunity that we have, and we can do, and that we provide to our clients and customers.
Love it. Okay, so let me be clear on a couple things. A lot of what we just said are things that create connection and engagement with our past clients, but can also be offered to leads in the database that we don't have existing relationships with. And at least part of Sasha's question was, how are you getting them to re-engage on the site? Remember, we're talking about traffic and design. So if you're going to do one of those things, ideally you're inviting them back to a page on the site, to RSVP, to engage, to get information. We're thinking traffic here, right? Now maybe there's some design elements, but are you using the platform to do these things you're doing? So we call it offline. We want to go online to get offline, to get back online, to get back offline. That's the game we play. We use this tool, this leverage tool, to get face-to-face with people, to sell them homes, to take care of them and serve our community. But we do want them to get back online and use the automated tools, and then later we'll get back offline to serve the community or buy or sell houses or join the team or whatever. But it's this ebb and flow, and Sasha's question is a really important one. If you're thinking about your platform where the only traffic that matters is to get them there to opt in and then it doesn't matter, you're wildly underutilizing the tool, the resource that can reinvigorate, resell, add more value, continue to keep them engaged, keep you top of mind. The automated property emails are doing some of the best work that gets done, but we want them to not forget and not get so far down the road that they're not seeing them or opening them or even receiving them. So, is that accurate? Good. All right. Yes, sir. Can we give Mert a mic?
You also have look at other channels. It's not just your realtors channel. You have a great database of emails and phone numbers, right? So that getting their address helps. When you get an address, you can actually target, like, there's a concept called addressable geofencing where you can actually target their internet TV and with it, like literally run an ad on their TV. OTT, exactly. You can run, CNN.com, ESPN.com, you can run those, you can run a physical mailers. I mean, you should be doing custom audience with the entire database list and running your YouTube channel ads.
Okay, let me call a timeout.
Sorry.
20. No, Mark was preaching there for a minute, but we got to slow down for a second. So, he's talking about, because of the people you already have in your site, your database, your lead sheet, or whatever you want to call that, you have way more information than you might be making use of. You can take all those addresses, you can create mailing lists, you can create geo-targeted, geo-fenced, all kinds of stuff. You can even be the creepy person who is using the Alexa to listen in on the living room until they say buy a house, and all of a sudden, you're in there. It's real, and you can do it. I'm not saying it's cool, I'm not even saying it's right, but you can do it. So, Bert was going down that, like, with this data, you can do boom, 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 and by all means, sit in the lobby with Bert and he'll blow your mind. The point is, that data for a lot of us is sitting in your Real Geeks database. But let's keep it on traffic and design. So let's think about, I don't want to avoid the point though. We want to drive traffic to the site. Once we have that data, we can do incredible things. We need to focus on that, but right now, how are we getting traffic to the site, or what are our concerns about design?
Well, actually, this is a continuation of that.
Well, then you can't do it, Al. No, Al, no.
What is everybody doing specifically to retarget? And I don't mean just say Facebook and Google. What are we doing, what are people doing specifically to retarget, to get these leads that we've all spent a ton of money to our website the first time and keep that traffic coming back and engaged?
I'll allow it because it's traffic. See what you did there? This said traffic at the end, so I wouldn't turn your chair over. All right, so let's talk about retargeting. And for those of you that don't know what retargeting is, someone will give you a better example, but it's using our digital technology to retarget someone that has already been to the site. Maybe they opted in, maybe they didn't, but we can now track them, follow them around the internet, and point them back to our site.
So one thing, I try to keep everybody inside of Real Geeks as much as possible. What we do is we constantly re-download our database, or a list out of the database, okay, and then upload that list into Facebook as a custom audience, okay? So for example, let's say...
I don't want to know that. What are you specifically doing? We all know how to create the custom audience.
Okay.
What are you specifically doing to bring them back?
We'll do both, go ahead.
All right, so but we just, long story short, step one, download it out of the CRM, upload it into Facebook. When you go to the Facebook ad tool, it is a tool that you can use at the very bottom to run an ad and pull in the custom audience. Okay, so you can do that. So whatever lead source you have, download out of Real Geeks or any Excel spreadsheet, upload it into Facebook, and you got that custom audience, number one. So, right, because it's emails, phone numbers, etc. So what I'll do that out on this, for example, I will go and target a group of people. I use mailbox power just a lot. Because, write this down, mailbox power is very powerful.
What is it?
Mailbox power. Okay? I will buy a list out of there, right? And find people, because mailbox power is one of the few tools that you can use that you can find people that love puppy dogs, with a 750 credit score, who've been in their home for 5 years, have so much equity, et cetera, and then I'll upload that list into Facebook and then use Real Geeks to run ads to target them. Okay? You can do the same thing with expires or cancels or whatever. Just think of your lead generation source, or if you're doing Google pay-per-click ads, retarget them and give them something of value. Okay? Whether it's a home buying guide, selling guide, cash offer, whatever your call to action, I do that to take my database to get the folks inside of it to raise their hand. And if they raise their hand, instead of me going after 200 people, now I'm going after 20. So that's one way I do it. And then I also use mailbox power to retarget those folks with actual postcards sent to their homes with a QR code that's linked to a BombBomb video or email of me saying X, Y, and Z.
Today's not the day to talk about it, we don't have the time, but we used to run ads to one person sometimes. If you want a listing bad enough, do some pretty amazing things that way. It may answer your question, Al. We use client testimonial videos to retarget visitors. I use my endorsement videos that I have with some celebrities and local celebrities and things like that that add authority and some affinity. We can do some of that cross-referencing of data where we can find out who listens to a certain radio station that we're advertising on, segment our database, and send them specific ads from the people that they're already drawn to trust, those radio DJs and things like that.
Are you able to do that on both Google and Facebook, or?
I hate Facebook leads. I love you all.
Right, no, I'm talking about for the retargeting. Are you able to?
I know you all got too many Facebook ads for me for this conference. I'm not sorry, but I do appreciate
Are you able
it.
to are you able to do that on Google and Facebook to target it directly? So let's say I went to my database and I said, okay, I want to create an ad for everybody who's searched for homes between 400 and 600,000. How do I retarget those people? And well, Kevin is going to help.
If you could search by that, then you could export that and create a custom audience, and then go.
Right. So, in what type would you run? Like here's a list, you know, of homes from 400 to 600. I mean, has anybody tried anything like that? You know, to try and get them to click back.
Sasha says he's done that.
And how's it worked?
I mean, it's really just trying to get the person to re-opt in and get more engagement on the website. I mean, that's how we use it now. Sometimes when we run that, it's just us trying to dig through that database to get the consultations. Really, that's how we use it for the most part. But I use it very heavily when I'm trying to get sellers who are looking for a cash offer. That's my big thing. That seems to work very, very well, especially in this market right now. Because you get this gigantic list of people in looking pre-foreclosed on houses been on the market forever and a day. Hey, it doesn't matter if it's canceled, expired, or whatever. Some people will take that cash offer if they want to sell the house.
For those of you asking, yes, Sasha's shirt is lighting up.
Oh, yeah.
I apologize. You brought it on purpose, man.
Anyway, but no, that's how we use it for the most part. We go after cash offers more than anything because for me and my business, that's what's hot right now.
All right, for the sake of time, I want to make sure we stay focused on traffic and design. So that was relevant in the sense that just because you get the traffic one time doesn't mean we're finished. We do want them to come back. We want to create re-engagement. By the way, Craig was talking about this in his Regs talk. These seminars are re-engaging some of the leads, the traffic that has come through that otherwise are not engaging. It's getting them to come back and wake back up to the platform and what they're offering. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
So regarding traffic, I want to make sure I get my keyword in there.
Thank you.
On the emails, to get them to re-engage, I've seen that the deliverability through Real Geeks email sent is not as great as I have Carol maybe set up line desk. Well, that's very clunky and slow, but it is what it is. At least there's better deliverability because I can get the whitelist that email. Is there a way to accomplish this in Real Geeks so I don't need the second database?
Your question is mostly about deliverability, right?
It goes back to traffic.
I hear the keyword, but I don't hear the relevance.
Yes, well, so they signed up, I want them to re-engage.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm sending these emails, I've got them on work trips, but the work trips that sent through Real Geeks, deliverability isn't as high. Case in point, I
Same
have.
exact emails, same exact recipients, you're just not getting the deliverability through Real.
Right, it's just not getting, so sending 60,000 emails and only 12,000 delivered, it's not great.
All right, so email deliverability. The way we do the e-blast and workflow emails in Real Geeks is everyone gets their own little partition. So we carved you off a little chunk as your own IP address space, as your own domain name. And so you kind of make or break your own reputation from within Real Geeks. So what you need to do is send out content that people want to see. So that they, basically what happens is email providers will look at your emails you're sending, and if a lot of people don't open them, or they click spam on them, then the next emails you send out are not going to go through very well. So I think some providers may mix everybody's traffic together in the same bucket, and maybe that's why that you're seeing better deliverability on other providers. That said, 12,000 out of 70, that's bad. Like, hit up support or come see me and we'll help you out. We can do stuff like reset your IP address, things like that.
One question that would help everybody. Let's say, we're not blaming her, but let's say I've got myself in that situation. I send better subject lines and my open rates climb, and then they'll deliver more to the people they stop delivering to. Yes, you can. Okay, this was loud. Yes, you can. And something that Real Geeks does for you is we actually look at who's opening your emails, and if people are not opening them, we stop sending to them. Because, again, the email providers don't like when you send email to people that don't open your emails. So part of that, only 12,000 out of 60 is because it's going to spam, but a big part of it is a lot of them didn't open your previous emails, and so now we're sending less emails. But you can re-earn that deliverability.
Yeah, I mean, you can, yes.
He's saying yes, and his head is moving in this
Here's the issue. When you, let's say they got put on no, correct, or something of that sort. Or the reason you can't get them back with Real Geeks.
Sorry, we're recording, so the
Okay, sorry. The issue, having a hard time getting it back to Real Geeks, even though they can be stepped back to daily, weekly, whatever, is because they're already, so you're never going to be able to send them another email. So, but if you have something like MailChimp or something else, you send them an external, sending it back to Real Geeks, you can re-engage them. That's the trick.
Thank you for saying it, so I didn't have to.
I got more.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, so if they open an email, we turn it back on. If they visit your website at all, we turn it back on. If they do any sort of activity, like, I don't know, favorite property, or view anything, or open even an old email you sent like a year ago, we turn it back on. It's just if they haven't opened any emails for a really long time, even though you've been sending them to you, we turn them on. So I love talking about email deliverability. Yes?
Yeah, well, just a follow-up question. So I was told that, and maybe I just want to verify if this is correct, that if I go in and I modify your search, that would re-engage those emails to start being delivered again. Is that correct?
No, I don't think just changing their search criteria will re-engage them. What will re-engage them is getting them to open an email or click on a link that goes to your website. So that the sending out from another system is a good tip. All right.
That ties well back into traffic, right? Because if you can't engage them with email right now, but you're able to do some sort of retargeting ads to get them back to your site, if you're able to do some retargeting ads to get them back to your site, that's going to get them back into our engagement protocol, so your emails start delivering again. So I would utilize some of those.
Hang on to the mic for just a second, because Al asked a question that is relevant, is where would you retarget them? And I would argue everywhere you can. Google, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you can do, wherever they may go. You know, the force multiplier is in effect, right? We want to hit them from land, air, and sea. Retargeting tends to be significantly more affordable than the initial traffic to get them there. So you may want to think about your ad budget, if you have one, with retargeting being a pretty significant piece of it. In the advanced room the other day, I asked, raise your hand if you think if you worked your leads really, really well, you would never need another lead ever again. And almost the entire room put their hand up. So if we could get these people all back to the site, all the things would work and they would read and see, well, they would at least have an opportunity. Then we could get clever with subject lines and content and all the strategies and put links in our signatures and all the things. Would you agree with that?
Oh, fully, yes. And you know, it's not all online retargeting. You could put a QR code on a postcard that gets people back to your site.
Sasha was talking about some direct mail selects where you can cross-reference affinities and what magazines do they get. Back in the day, these direct mail selects were like ninja strategies. We've basically abandoned them. But by the way, when Facebook decided to monetize, that's basically what they did. They dropped ads in with every direct mail select under the sun, and they've been taking them away from us ever since.
So retargeting, I think most people in here are talking about people that have come to the site over the years and whatnot. I'm looking at, just learning at through this conference that, you know, I've got over 1,000 past clients that haven't been engaged. My biggest concern is the CRM for me mostly is more important for my past clients. So when I send some kind of bulk mail out to my past clients, I'm seeing out half of them, you know, they're not on the site, they're just in my CRM. They're not getting the things I thought they were always getting this whole time. How do I re-engage those people, that list of people? Because that's the most important list to me, not the...
Same as what we just said, right? You've got to get them back to the site to do something. You can do it with a text message, a phone call, a newsletter, an event, a postcard, any of those things. One of the tools I would recommend is either the property valuation tool or the market report tool. Hey, I wanted to set you up on this. I thought it would be super valuable. Just go to this link. Go get a free $10 custom domain.
Right, I gotta do that individually with each one of them, or send it through my Gmail.
Or zip code by zip code, 75255, property values, whatever. But you've got to do some manual work to get them back so the automation can kick back in.
Todd, I have a question. Is anyone really successfully using the blog feature on their Real Gig site? And like, how are you doing it? Are you seeing success? Who's doing it well in the room?
Is anyone using the blog feature and you're fired up about your results? Zach?
I wouldn't say fired up, but I look at the analytics and I get a fair amount of traffic to it. I think that's attributed to organic content. Hire your weaknesses. That's not my strength, so I pay a blog writer in order to do it, and they do a lot of keyword research and don't do keyword stuffing, and it's relevant.
Let me jump in. Does the traffic to the blog page generate new leads? Do you have opt-in on your blog?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
What opt-in do you have on the blog? Just the home search widget deal? I've been conflicted about sending a ton of traffic or trying to drive a ton of traffic to the blog without having a lead capture tool there. A lot of people are using content pages as blog pages. That's what I was trying to get.
I don't use content page, no, I use the blog pages, but in the blog, I will hyperlink certain, and not too many, because I found that can affect you as well.
To other pages on your site, right?
Yes,
internal links.
absolutely. Internal links, yeah. Out of a 1,500 word blog, I may have 7 or 8, internal links on there, and make sure to put them in bold, and so they stand out as hyperlinks.
I do something else. I'm connecting my blog landing page to another website that writes also blog for me, keeping it real, like something similar to that pretty much. It writes all the blogs, and after that on Facebook story, I take a snippet and I embed the link of the blog on the Facebook story. And if you wanted to read more, they click on that and they drive them back to the website.
So that's one way you're driving traffic back to it. Don's got something over here. We put every radio show episode as a blog entry. We're not killing it with that, but we're using it for that. Go ahead.
Every January, the last few years, I've written a blog about the 10 most expensive homes that have sold the previous year. And I've done that last couple of years. And the results, I perform well for Google first page on luxury properties in those areas. But I'm also getting, I guess it's like the article that Google is embedding from the blog, and it's still there. So it's 10 months later, and that article from January that I wrote is still showing up on the first page of Google, not in results. So I'm not, is that the stories, or I don't know what it's properly called, but so I'm getting the organic results on luxury for the city, as well as the blog itself, like the first paragraph with the main picture is showing up on the first page.
Very cool. And you do that every year? That's a great thing.
So, a good idea, at least I think it's a good idea, and it works for us, is you can always do, like what everyone's saying. So we do blogs for the best zip codes in Silicon Valley, the best neighborhoods in this city, the 10 best neighborhoods in that city. And we're ranking #1 for a lot of things. And then in there, you're gonna have, like I said, 8 links to the different neighborhoods. So now it narrows it down again.
Which is a results page.
And then it goes right to the results page.
Yeah.
So now you have none. So now, by doing that, those result pages are coming up with better SEO for Google. Because now you're just taking traffic from your blog, send it to a page, that page does better on organic searches. And you just find, look at other people's websites, they're doing really good, ranking really well. Look at their blog, and then go to, or use some kind of software that says what blogs are doing really well. And like I said, best neighborhoods, best zip codes, because that's real estate related. The people are interested in that. Homes near, we're high tech, so I do homes near Google, homes near Apple, homes near all these places. It gets a lot of traffic, and it goes right to that search results, instant gratification.
And then Don goes and sells a $7 million home, and we all resent it. Just kidding. Yeah.
One thing about blogs is sometimes blogs about current trends. Like you're talking about the best neighborhood. Think of issues like plumbing. Like you have that faucets, not that plumbing and the water main. Water main is the inbound links, the navigation is the plumbing, and the faucets are the pages on the site, so to speak. With a blog, the issue is as you write more and more blog posts, you're burying that blog post back to the site. So when you're writing the best neighborhoods, maybe it might be a good idea to write the contact page, which is, that's going to be like more permanent data. But unless you're talking about seasonal stuff, to not put them blog in the long run is kind of lowering the power of your, from an SEO perspective. Not from a social media
So I was hoping you would comment, because I think there's a feeling within the Real Geeks platform that some of this content is better served on a content page than the blog page. So to summarize what's being said is if you have evergreen content that will be accurate and useful for the long haul, that may be better on a content page. If you have seasonal or current event data, that may work well on the blog. Is that a fair summary? Okay, now back to what Don was doing. That's incredible. I would just hint at, I would also make a video with that exact same content, and I would put that on YouTube and other places, and potentially do the video and the text content on the blog. Now, don't change what you're doing. It sounds like it's working really well, but if you're experimenting new with multiple types of content, you might create more engagement. Any other design, traffic questions, comments? Otherwise, I'll lob a couple out. Yep. Mike on the way. Eddie O'Hara, El Paso, Texas.
I'm in a market that's a lot different than Dallas. It's a small destination market. So I just wonder if anybody if there's changes or techniques that might be more fitting to that.
Anybody in a small town? Now, is that specific to what?
Just the design and because a lot of the marketing, our folks don't live there. So they don't live there.
So you're a secondary market in a small,
you know, it's like a ski resort, big lake kind of place. So the people don't live there necessarily. Their second homes are expensive. It's a lower volume. So I just was curious if anybody is dealing with that.
You willing? Yeah. He knows you need to spend some time with you. There's plenty of others, but he's gone deep.
So I'm in Pleasant Hill in South Carolina. So it's a popular market, which kind of shouldn't do. So we literally drive into the site the first time.
Sorry.
We drive to the site the first time. When I first got to the site, I was told, you got to drive the traffic there to capture the leads. That's the first and foremost. So I spent a lot of money on pay-per-click to do that. Working on the SEO is the ever-elusive thing. Once they're on the site, it's providing them in the emails, the contents that we send them afterwards, directly back to the page of the site that have information that they want to know about the area, the community, buying a house there, right? You're running out, recommended contractors, that sort of stuff. Provide the useful information to become a resource for them.
And we do a lot of that. That's because people don't know.
Yeah. And then you have to not just set it up on the site, you have to let them know that it's on the site. And that's part of your communication too.
What's your opinion, Dino, of branded versus unbranded when your target client is out of the community and has no familiarity with you or any of the other agent brokers in the area?
Well, my opinion's changing on that.
Total setup.
Thank you. No, for years I went unbranded. I was direct market or direct response type stuff. It was about them and the community, period. Todd's going to be changing my mind on that and do more personal branding on it, getting reviews on it.
Now, to be clear, that's in certain spots, right? So you want to capture that traffic with the opt-in, unbranded, most likely. But then your goal, because they may not be there for 9 months or 27 months or whatever, in my opinion, is to build some relationship building, authority building into that so that they re-engage with your site and not the 12 others. Because you don't have any ability to reach out and touch them until they come there, right? And they may never come. And, you know, we talked with Dino about, you know, they're looking at Hilton Head, but they're also looking at Charlotte and, you know, all these other places. So you're trying to do a lot of things that some of us don't have to do, but you have a lot of benefits we don't either. So great question, slightly different strategy. I would think about where you're branded and where you're unbranded. It may be as simple as unbranded to get them, branded or personalized to build relationships so you capture them. It may not be that simple, but something to think about. Yep. Sasha. This part of the room really needs to step your game up, okay? People out, let out, but the rest of you are just struggling.
So I have a traffic thing that we do, and I have a question for Kevin or anyone in the room. One thing that we do, I don't do this consistently, let me just say that. When I did it, I was doing really well, is we'll live stream and send people to the website, okay? So there's a tool called Restream. You can use that, it allows you to stream to several different places at the same time. The reason I like that particular tool is because you can embed the player onto your Real Geeks website. So what I was doing at one point was streaming live on my private groups and whatnot, but then also streaming live on my seller page or my buyer page. I don't know what Google, if they did anything to me, but we did get leads from that. It was a way to drive traffic to the website because the tool's really cool. You can put out links, you can put QR codes, people can scan it, things like that. But it's almost like, in a way of putting together like a live podcast show. You can take questions. And so we did well with it. I just didn't keep up and do it consistently. It's something we're looking to go back and start doing again, but it will drive traffic to the site. So my question, technical question is, live streaming like that, does that really, and I got to embed it into the website, does that help my website with SEO or Google ranking or anything like that? Because if it does, I'm going to do more of it. I just don't know technically if it does.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how it would help. So Google needs to know that people are going to your site. So if they're Googling you, like Sasha Chapman live stream, and Google sees them click on the link, and Google goes, oh wow, hey, this is a good page, especially if they spend a long time on that page.
If you go to Google Analytics, you'll be able to trace the page it's getting. If you go to Google Analytics and you know the date when you did it, it'll show if it's having any traffic, and you can see how much traffic. If it's a lot of traffic, yeah, Google will reward you for that. And if there's not, if there's a high bounce rate, they penalize you for that. So remember, people bounce, they go there, they bounce off within a certain amount of time. The shorter time they're on the page, the more, well, if it doesn't, it's not a good effect. The longer time, it's a positive effect. And if it's an instant bounce, it's a negative effect. Okay. So it's not.
One thing I like about that strategy, though, is because they're on your site, you'll be able to look at your CRM. The little green dots will come on to everyone who's watching, and you'll be able to see the activity. Right. So-and-so came to the site, and then you can actually send like a follow-up or give them a call and, hey, I saw you were on my webinar. So I think that's the question.
We would have our VA direct chatting with them at that point when they were doing it. It's just about making sure you have something of value to give them to make them want to stay. Because when they get there, the first time we did it wasn't going great because people didn't want to sign up. The second time, I had to sell it, if you will, like, hey, sign up if you're going to get my tools on how to maintain the value of your home, blah, blah, blah. And then they signed up. And we got a couple of deals out of it, but it was labor, time, and intensive, but it is one way to drive traffic.
Well, Craig was talking earlier, I was thinking about if you did that virtually, you just live streamed it on a page on your site. We've done it through Zoom just for the simplicity and not to bomb our site, but it's a decent idea.
So Don brought up something, and I'm curious. I mean, does everybody know what their bounce rate is? Because I'm trying to figure out, I always wondered if the bounce rate that we have is any good or not. I'll tell you, I'll start out by saying I know my bounce rate is around 29-30%. Does anybody know what their bounce rates are?
Bounce rate is page related to.
I understand, but I'm saying, what are the bounce, it shows you in analytics what your bounce rate is.
Who knows their bounce rate?
Mine's around 30%, but I don't know whether that's good or bad.
Right, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Is that a good bounce rate?
Stand by. Oh, here we go.
I was curious what everybody's doing to build backlinks or what you're successful for backlinks, or you have good links to your website.
Giving up. Sometime in 2013, I think. Literally. Anybody doing anything to build backlinks and page rank and credibility and right here, these two.
You want the amateur to go first? Yeah. So a strategy I've found with building backlinks, and I get my VA to do this. So you can go into Google and type in a keyword in parentheses. I'm trying to remember the exact format to do it now, and I'll find out and share it with anybody. But you can search Google for blogs that allow comments, and blogs related to your keyword, real estate or whatever. And just comment, a relevant comment on that blog, great information, thank you. And if they allow that comment and post that comment, there's a backlink to that site, to your site. And
There's a whole lot of software out there, such as, you'll tell there's a thing called Uber Suggest, super cheap, and it'll tell you everything about, but maybe it's not 100% accurate, none of them are, but it'll give you ideas from other sites. You can put in competitors and go, oh, that's what they're doing. This is what brings them to that site. These are the backlinks they have. These are because of your website, you're doing very good for the city. So now you can push more on that and you can go higher. There's a lot of content that these things will tell you. And Bert, be with him, he can tell you a lot more about. There's just a lot of software, inexpensive, that will explain your whole website to you. You don't have to know anything. So you don't have to know much. It just tells you everything, explains it in very simple terms, and so it's instant success for you if you use what they say.
What was the website you said though?
One of them that I personally use because it's cheap. I think its lifetime is like $99. Uber Suggest, maybe $199, whatever it is. It's super cheap.
Uber Suggest.
Uber Suggest.
Thank you.
There's more, well, according to Google, all link building activity is white hat. There is no such thing as white hat link building activity. So, we're all drug.
What does white hat and black hat mean really fast?
Google.
Good and bad.
Google approved versus Google not approved. For example, anything you do, according to Google, that trying to improve your SEO is bad. But they don't care. So you're like a drug dealer. Are you the drug dealer who's the main guy, the main drug dealer distributor, or are you the guy in the corner trying to do a few links? So Google always goes after the main guy, not the small guy.
One more link.
So the point is, there is paid and unpaid version of this. So for example, if you have a vendor list, go get them testimonials. So go to Kevin and say, hey Kevin, you got that wonderful testimonials page on your website. Can I go in there and please don't remove the links like we did last time? Please put me at my LinkedIn there as a link to RealGeeks, because RealGeeks says domain authority aid the site and you can get a testimonial out of them back. I'm joking about it.
Oh, I got you.
But the point is, like, you can do your vendors, other friends and family. You can sponsor events, local events and charities and local teams. I mean, they might not matter, but it's a great local signal for Google to do it. Do the right local citations that helps both Google My Business and also gives you local signals for your area.
Does site rank still matter? Do I want my link on sites with better ranking, or is that all outdated?
Yes, actually, site rank doesn't matter as much as page rank does. There's a difference between a site ranking for something and a page ranking for something. But you can rank on a profile page, but the profile page has no backlinks from the rest of the site. So it's like a deserted island. What I do from a paid perspective, the evil white hat part of it, I find the highest traffic page on a site and try to get an editorial insertion in from that link. That actually gets you the most authority, especially if you're building large websites, 20, 30,000. But nowadays, all real good sites at this point have 10, 20, 30,000. So you need as much authority as possible to be able to get in there. But it's not site authority, it's more of the page authority. So you have to look at the links that point to the page from other websites. So if it's a blog post, you shouldn't just look at, oh, it's a blog post, but the blog post in 3 months will be like way back in the line, and I'm getting like minimum authority. So you gotta look at that blog post that has the most backlinks pointing to it from other websites, and you get them from that blog post. That's the idea that we're trying to do. I mean, and technically, by the way, all Zillow, Redfin, all those guys, they're doing like link exchanges with people, or pushing in links through APIs.
Or forcing their users to add links.
Exactly. So everybody is technically doing black hat. So all you gotta think about is how much I can get away with and how much I can't get away with.
Yeah.
There's a lady called Roxanne Audrey. She's a real good customer. She did like a few years ago. She used to do like Christmas light competitions from a local site. So she served 55 plus communities. So she co-sponsored with a bunch of mortgage, other businesses. Other businesses linked to her page because they were co-sponsoring it on their blog post. She reached out to the local newspaper. They got her link to that page, and she got to like knock around, and you can be creative about what you do. Like she got to knock around and just say, hey, here's that competition to all these old people who love to talk about the competition. And she was a realtor, making connections through a simple competition. And guess what? That tactic got her ranked #1 for every subdivision in the South New Jersey area that has like 55 plus community. Because she was constantly pushing that in front of local PR. I mean, you can do it paid or you can do it with your own efforts. It's just which strategy works better for you. And
good tips.
A lot of bodies on that. So.
Yeah, you can find Merton in the lobby.
Take them to lunch. He loves French fries.
I wasn't kidding when I said I abandoned it, and I'm not saying my way is the right way. I'm saying we got to a point where we just weren't winning the game. And so we went to more of the paid traffic and natural traffic. So I'd like to actually throw this out really quickly and hear from as many people in the room as possible. Very quickly, a few words. Let's try to name all the ways that we send traffic to our sites. So everyone has just a mental or written list of like, what are all the options? We're not going to name them all, but what are you doing to send traffic? You can shout and we'll repeat it. Pay-per-click. YouTube. What was it over here?
Facebook story with a link.
Facebook stories with a link.
QR codes.
QR codes where?
On newsletters, any kind of postcards going out.
Okay. Physically printed QR codes distributed every way possible.
Facebook ads for your own listings.
Facebook ads for specific listings.
Google Business.
Google Business Profile. TikTok and you don't stop. TikTok.
Pinterest if you're a photographer.
Pinterest if you're a photographer, and apparently also if you're not a photographer, a lot of people, but yes, if you have great images, Pinterest.
Email signature.
Say that again?
Email signature.
Email signature linked, right? A link in the signature. E-blasts. We're using radio ads, podcasts.
Anybody try billboards?
Open houses, billboards was mentioned.
Anybody try it?
Yeah, QR code, custom domain, anything like that on printed material.
What are you putting on billboards? And Al's question was, is anyone here doing billboards? Raise your hand. Anyone? What are you putting on your billboard?
What's on y'all's billboard?
What's on your billboard? Let me ask you something. Who wants to go first? I saw a couple hands go.
We're using digital billboards that have just 8 seconds up and they rotate through and promoting all of my different agents, but every single billboard has the website on the billboard. So we've got one with a QR code, the rest of them just have the link.
Is one working better than the other, or do we know yet?
It's kind of a variation. Would not say that we have very many direct leads from that, but we are definitely getting the exposure.
Do you know if anyone has ever gotten the QR code on that billboard to work? I'm not being critical. I've thought about this a lot, but typically, hopefully, it's a low speed limit area.
Are you unique QR code so you know it comes from the billboard?
I've got one that does have a unique QR code on it, and we have had one lead direct from the billboard that did use the QR code.
When you talk billboard, you said digital billboard. You're talking outside.
Okay, right here. Yep, hold on, more billboard talk.
So I have billboards, and I've actually used billboards for 4 years. Have a big enough sphere in your area, they're not gonna do anything for you.
I've seen your billboard on a Facebook post.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because that's what I wanted to say. You know what you're doing. You use the word directly. It doesn't mean your billboard's not getting you business. It means it's not a direct response. There's not a bunch of people flying by going, yes, I remember and we'll call that number. I remember and we'll go to that link. I have time to get the QR code. But it's probably an authority builder. So no one asked the question, but I'll just comment that I wouldn't recommend anyone who does billboards only. I would recommend that you do billboards if you have a fairly well-developed strategy where you can repurpose the benefit of them, like on Facebook and in mail and all these other places. And it's a piece of an overall marketing puzzle that can allow you to benefit from that in other indirect ways. And in that situation, I've seen people do really well. But as a direct traffic driver, I think she's telling you pretty directly that that's not a winner.
We got one right
because of the cost. Okay, here, we'll go over here.
If someone has in their database 15, 20,000, like how do you overcome the limitations that homeowner has like 5,000 emails that can go out?
How are you overcoming platform limitations on how many messages you can send out?
Services has like, yeah, like they have like 5,000, MailChimp has like a few more thousand, but I didn't find any of them that can send like 20,000.
Keep thinking of other ways you drive traffic. We just want to name everyone we can think of for everybody's benefit.
I can answer your BombBomb question because I had that issue. You can buy additional seats with BombBomb. They'll let you buy up. I don't know how many I got at this point, but I purchased more because all my stuff leads over to BombBomb. So that's one thing I do. The other thing is clean up your contact list. They naturally will take out of your account the folks who are not engaging and open up your emails and unsubscribe. But if you just have a ton of folks that you just not sending emails to, take them out of the list. But they will, I forget exactly how much they charge you, but if you call the customer support, they'll tell you that. You can buy the list, but take out the ones you don't need.
Right here.
Yeah, it was just a follow-up question to the billboard. I mean, I put TV in the same category. Is anyone using that, like TV ads during like the noon ESPN football game? It gives you a 20, 30-second ad on the local TV.
Local television.
Any local television ads?
Sounds like no. I know OTT is currently really popular, and OTT are those streaming television, highly targetable. Basically as targetable as retargeting and PPC. You can use all sorts of selects, you can geofence, you can go by income, education level, and all kinds of cool stuff until that gets regulated. But now you can do all that, so you can literally pick price point in neighborhood, watching a certain network, or streaming platform. You can do Hulu or Roku or whatever. So that's very attractive for the ability to target, and you can scale it. That's on my list of probably the next significant thing we'll implement, but we haven't gotten there yet. We do radio, which fits somewhat in this category of what people would think of as old, expensive media, but we're pretty darn targeted with it, and that has an absolutely palatable ROI for us.
So piggybacking on the QR codes, all of my farm, all of the postcards, all just sold, all of the just listed, everything that we sent out has a QR code on for property evaluation to the site. So out of 300 to 500 that go out a month, I would say probably get at least a good 20, 25 that click that and captures all their information.
So let me play devil's advocate right now, real quick. Someone in this room is like, who freaking cares about 20 visits to your site? I have an answer, but do you have an answer?
Well, I mean, I'm constant, so I do these over time. So, 15, 20, 25 a month, over a year. In my farm, consistently seeing my stuff, consistently seeing I'm listing properties and selling properties, face to the name, all of them.
That would be my answer, is these are highly targeted. These are high quality site visitors, right? These aren't random, I kind of sort of think you might be the right fit from Google. This is like, this guy lives in the neighborhood that I want to sell every house in the neighborhood, and I got another one.
Do you use a custom URL for your farm for the what's your home worth on your farm, a custom URL, or are you just driving them right to the what's my home worth?
I'm using a custom URL.
So the question was, is it segmented, or are you using a custom URL for the neighborhood or that farm area? And he said absolutely yes.
But the one thing you can do on top of that is Kevin added that new little bit of code that I started using on my postcard. So you have a custom URL. And
So
then
log them
you
back
add, what's it called? That little section at the end, so it tells you exactly what where you, that link came from and where it. Huh? Oh, source, yeah. So
The source code.
Yeah, the
Now,
source
Don, you said the one thing you can add on top. Are you sure there's nothing else? Laura, you're up.
This is a technical question for Kevin. We're talking about adding a lot of content pages, and I know when I land on websites, the website starts to slow down if there's too much content. Like what the engine of RealGeeks, if we are adding, 1,000 extra pages, sub-pages of content on each neighborhood, and then we're adding pages about putting up Christmas lights, and we're doing custom pages with a lot of images and videos. Is the RealGeeks site able to handle, like, how many pages can we actually add?
Yeah, I've heard of people adding thousands and thousands. I mean, the one thing that might slow down is the actual back end where you're adding the pages, but the actual page itself shouldn't be going any slower. So, yeah, like load time for the consumer should be fine, but I have seen, because we have a little widget in the back end that says, would you like to select the parent of the page? And that widget displays every single page. The editing experience can get slower, but I mean, I've heard of people with, I don't know, 100,000 pages. Bert, how many pages do you see?
Yeah, 100, 120.
Yeah.
I do. In the good old days, we used to, it's a lot better now, thank you, by the way. The backend's even better now. In the good old days, we used to be able to only have like 15,000 the entire CMS needs to crash, like the whole backend to crash, so you couldn't do anymore. But now it's a lot better.
What Bert just said is it's a lot better for adding more content now. Yeah, just making sure the recording has
It's
it.
better, everything cool in the backend.
And Kevin will just buy new servers anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm selling some land right over here for a data center.
So I said you just finished one with 120,000 pages.
Yeah. Over. And Merck's done some monsters as well. Yes, Jamie.
I'm just gonna add. So earlier this morning, I mentioned that I added a dynamic thing to add pages. So last night, I had less than 400 pages, but as bots are crawling these pages, earlier this morning, I had 600 after the conference had started, and now I'm at 1,200 pages. And so as those bots are crawling all these new neighborhoods, and this is how Dylan explained it to me just a minute ago, is that it's just going to keep going as Google starts crawling my site. And
Listen,
that's where
people,
the
shut it
thousands
down. The machines are taking over. It's over. This is the end. Have a nice meal. Game over. Okay, I'm just kidding. But hang tight, everybody. Pause where you are. We have 5 minutes left. If you're like, we still haven't even talked about, okay, say it now. Don't say it in the hall or on the feedback form. You have 5 minutes. What do we need to cover on site design and traffic for your heart to be warm and happy? Bert raises his hand like,
Nobody talked about too much design, but you talk about above the fold, below the fold.
Yep.
The concept. Like above the fold is where the fold actions are. I mean, right?
So Mert is saying above the fold, below the fold homepage, top half before you have to scroll. And he's saying your call to actions need to be above the fold.
Here's a little trick.
Will you raise your mic up just a little bit?
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Right now, Google is taking out all the commercial intent pages out of Google and the organic search, and they're trying to push reviews and blogs and other editorial content in there. So the trick we have to do at this point is put all the search box and the properties at the top, and below that, forget the 500-page AI. You should put 2,000 pages or 3,000 words. Create more extended articles. There's a great example. Sorry, not a real good site. This is a Sierra site, but just because of the content, I just want to show the content part. Google Atlanta Ranch Homes once. Now look at the content the guy put under his listing pages. He's like number 2 right now under Trulia. But he just created a giant article. It's about ranch homes. It has nothing to do with Atlanta. These guys just pretty much went and sprinkling Atlanta all over the place on the content. But it's like headers, subheaders, questions, more FAQs. It's like a giant library. Or go to zerodown.com, which is a giant platform, 200 million. They have everything dynamically built, like there's no unique written content, but it's all templated database for the content. Even their property detail pages has 3,000 words in it. They have the most extended Q&A you'll ever see in your life.
So what you're saying is above the fold, do your business, calls to action, opt-ins, all that. Underneath it, put significant quantities of rich, valuable text content, and you can win both.
You need that useful. I mean, Google came up with the algorithm called helpful content update. Just came in September, and they are not talking about fluff content right now. They want you to actually give answers to questions concisely or with a lot of data.
Concisely, but 6,000 words.
No, concisely about tables, data, concise questions, or more structured content within it, so people actually can dig through it and say, oh, these are the other sub-questions under this header.
It turns out Google actually wants our sites just to be super functional and useful, and they don't want us to fake stuff. Is that fair?
Yes.
I didn't feel that way back in the day, but I think they have somehow finally gotten to where they're like, we just want it to do what you say it does and nothing manipulated.
And don't put all your eggs in one basket. In other words, build content, build blogs, build this, build that, because Google changes them. Today the algorithm says this, tomorrow the algorithm says this.
And that was my point when I said I basically abandoned SEO. But we have a couple minutes, Zach.
Yeah, so along content lines, whether Merck or whoever, but does Google penalize you if a lot of that content is highly primed AI written content? Meaning, you know, ChatGPT, you can go in there with one prompt and it can write you whatever. It's generally, in my opinion, kind of garbage. But if you prime it, meaning you ask it about 10 questions deep before you have it write you something, those tend to be very effective, good articles for a blog or for content or for whatever. Does Google know the difference and does it penalize you depending on how you do that?
That's it.
Sorry.
Long answer coming. 1 minute.
No. The answer to the question is, for example, you just said Google indexed all your pages. Now the real trick is Google indexes those pages fast. It's called query deserves freshness. The idea is they will index your pages, and if you look at the long tail view, for 1 week you'll rank really high. But the next week, you've got to look at that page again. Is that page there anymore? If that page is not, that's why I was talking about the helpful content update. If the content you're writing is just fluff, and there's no essence to like helping the customer in it, Google is now smart enough to realize it and literally de-index the page. So whatever content you got from real useful, that stuff, now you've got to repurpose that content. Now you've got to make it more helpful. Now you've got to add more statistics in. Think of the content you just got from real useful.
So if you did what Zach's talking about though, you spent the time for it to be high quality content.
It will work. It will work. But if it's just a fluff automated content, you will be de-indexed as fast as you got indexed. So after a week, you'll be gone. But you have to now work on the content real needs provided to you.
And it still gets down to Google changed its algorithm. So what works today might not work tomorrow. If Google, if it's not in their best interest, so let's say 6 months from now, you wrote an article with ChatGPT or anything like that, and then Google has barred, and all of a sudden Google's like, wait a minute, I want my
All right, time's running out, but what Don is saying is Google changes their mind all the freaking time. They can do whatever they want. Like I said, the machines have taken over, it's over.
Yeah, and I'll answer real quick. Google has not said we don't like AI content. Google has said we don't like unhelpful content. So if you can create helpful content with an AI or create helpful content yourself with a VA, that's what Google wants to see.
Got it. Okay.
All right, everybody, we are out of time. Al's going to have the last comment, and if it's inappropriate, I will have the last comment.
Okay. So I wanted to say last year out of the advanced group, we formed a mastermind group. And we wanted to keep it as advanced people. So Christina's in the group, Sasha's in the group, Don's in the group, Dino's in the group, Mark's in the group. I saw Matt was here, he's in the group. And I'd like to invite everybody, we meet once a month, and it's 1 hour Zoom call, and it's really great. We talk about real geeks, we talk about what's working, what's not working, what people have been doing, problems that we're having. Sorry, Kevin. We're probably we've talked about inviting Kevin for one of our sessions too. We just haven't gotten to it yet. we've been too busy, sorry. So,
But Dylan jumped in on one, I mean, it's.
yes. Todd's been to them, Craig Schneider's in our group. I'd like to invite everybody here, if you'd like to participate, we'll send you, give me your card. We'll have them, the person who sends out all the invitations. We usually meet the first Wednesday of the month. I think it's noon Eastern time. If you'd like to join us, I've gotten a ton out of it. Everybody here is welcome, even the people that don't like me.
All right. Find out for more information.